And so for those who weren't here last week, Satsang is a great opportunity to close our eyes and draw inward, to limit the amount of distractions that we have, to just be a space to fully imbibe in what's being said, what's being experienced, so that it can penetrate us on a deeper level. So I encourage you, you can turn off your microphones and camera if you'd like. I'm going to turn off my camera so that there's no potential anybody's tempted to look at anything situation, and you're welcome to join me with your eyes closed. I'd like to start actually reading a couple quotes. I like to do that because there are men much wiser than myself. Everything in this universe is a vibration of God's consciousness. Science tells us that all matter is energy in motion, and the yogis have long known that sound, light, and thought itself are manifestations of a single divine force. When we meditate on the sacred sound of Om, we dissolve the illusion of separation and awaken to the presence of the infinite vibration within and all around us. To hear the divine sound within is to touch the very essence of existence. Paramahansa Yogananda. The entire universe is an ocean of energy where every particle vibrates with divine intelligence. Mantras and sacred sounds are not mere words, but powerful vibrations that align the individual with the cosmic rhythm. When you chant with devotion, the sound waves penetrate the subconscious mind, purify the heart, and elevate the soul towards higher states of awareness. This is why in all great spiritual traditions, sound is revered as a bridge between the finite and the infinite. Swami Sivananda. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Genesis 1:1. So for thousands of years, we've known that there is a connection between sound and the divine. In science, we have the Big Bang, right? And what is a bang? It's sound. It's a vibration. There's something intuitive that we people have been able to connect with in feeling the vibrations and knowing that there's something otherworldly about it and that there's something to take advantage of here. And all sound is vibration, and every particle in existence is vibrating. So we know scientifically that our entire existence is simply vibration. And even though our ears don't pick up on every sound, that doesn't mean that there's not an energetic essence uh, that's attached to it. And that doesn't mean that just because we can't hear, doesn't mean that this energetic essence doesn't have an impact on us and our environment. So you can imagine that at any moment, what you're experiencing is like this symphony of harmonious or not so harmonious sometimes vibrations. And we can go through things like sexual intimacy, eating, watching TV, hiking, all are a playfulness amongst vibrations. And all of these vibrations come from the same source, but there's something inimitable about their character. There's something that can't be replicated that allows them to have this sense of separateness as we view them. But just like we know with all other things of a dual nature, it all comes from the same singular I am. Vibrations of a particular characteristic, specifically ones that are conducive to the ears, this is what we call sound. What we can hear, we call sound. And arranging these vibrations of sound in certain ways through certain mediums is what we call music. So you think about to play a trumpet, you have to vibrate your lips first against what's called a mouthpiece, a piece of metal. And so there has to be an introduction of vibration in order for a sound to come out. And if you buzz well, if you vibrate well, then it sounds pretty pleasing to the ear, and you can play a lot of musical notes through a trumpet. And similarly, playing a guitar, you have to pluck one of the strings to create from an external source a vibration is a part of the instrument. You subject the instrument to a vibration, and music is made. So similarly, when we sing or chant or speak, the body has to vibrate in a certain way to create sound. And through this, the body becomes an instrument of its own. And when the body becomes an instrument of sound, the vibration that echoes throughout the entire system, it carries this energy to it. Scientific studies show that sound frequencies influence water molecules, and we're 70% water. And the element of water is known as the element of transportation. If you think about what water represents to us, it's this flow, right? So the water element within our body, not only are we mostly made of water, but the water element that is found in everything in existence. When we talk about the five elements, maybe we'll unpack that another time. But this means that when we subject this water element to an energy that awakens it, then our whole system is impacted. And there are other studies that show that evidence of water having a certain quality of memory to it as well. So just as plants can respond, I'm not sure if you guys have seen, but just as plants respond to like positive words of affirmation or loving energy uh, put onto them, they actually grow faster or larger. They have a positive stimuli, and we can actually see on an atomic level that they organize themselves better when we give them this loving energy. Water does the exact same thing when we do that. When we give it this loving energy, water responds in a powerful way that organizes it, it energizes it, and it allows things to be more efficient, more fluid. So when we think about the water element within us and we stimulate it in this way, we give it um, this energy aligned with source through vibration, through sound, through sacred words and chants that we have come to experience over thousands of years that this is a science of how sound impacts us. When we subject water to this, we find that our entire system starts aligning with the divine in a way that's very cleansing. With 70% of our being water, the chanting ends up actually restructuring a molecular arrangement of the water, like we have studied in these scientific studies, and the water within us rearranges itself, and it leads to so many things: increased blood flow, emotional stress, toxin removal. It just creates this efficiency within the system because chanting awakens the water element within us in such a way that actually promotes the transportation of divine instruction through the cellular structure. So every function of the body is operated with less friction when the water element within the body carries greater and greater divine energy. And in the presence of God, there are no impurities. So being in the presence of the sound that represents God in a particular vibrational form results in the body immediately working to purify itself. And we can call it like cleansing flame, reflecting the light of God, all other such wordplay. But really, what we're getting down to is experiencing the body taking divine instruction and transporting that efficiently to create a more divine body that mimics the nature of instruction it was given. So the sound is like us giving instruction for the body to organize itself, and we can observe this through how the play of water molecules interact and transport functions throughout the body. And you think about all of the ways that we process so many things in our body without our conscious thought: the liver, the kidneys, the digestive tracts, our brain. There's so much going on that water is transporting around us. and so many toxins that are in need of removal and transportation out of the system, that stimulating the water within us in this way is deeply powerful, deeply, deeply powerful. And we talked about it yesterday that when we are here in satsang, there's this mimicry that comes to play where being in the presence of something divine automatically sparks this desire to reflect that. And so, just as we will do that consciously in the presence of wisdom, the body does this without our conscious acknowledgement. When it is subjected to divine vibrations, it structures itself divinely through this kind of play of imitation. The energetic quality of sound we choose to emit also has a direct impact on our experiences. We end up imbibing in the same energy we are projecting outward because the body is acting as an instrument. Our cells are interacting with vibrations that are carried as sound to others, and thus we end up taking on the same vibration, kind of like this mimicry we keep on coming back to. And even if we aren't always vibrating with a nature that imitates the source of creation, in the moment of chanting, in the moment of being that instrument, we are. And carrying that energy, we are allowing our environment to imbibe in that same quality, at least for that moment, right? So this is why chanting is so powerful, and especially in Sanskrit. Sanskrit actually translates to dwelling of the gods, dwelling place of the gods. And so it was structured very specifically to mimic creation, to mimic a sense of divinity. So the very nature of speaking the language brings out this divinity. It's its sole purpose, right? So to chant in this language, especially for an extended period of time, it brings enormous physiological and psychological benefit. It's like we're tuning up the body to vibrate with that of creation, bringing synergy and unity and eliminating resistance and disease. Doing so in a group space like this one is conducive because it amplifies these vibrations and it increases bodily receptivity. In when the ears are receiving the sound from the outside and the body's receiving sound from the outside at the same time that it's giving from the inside, it's like submerging yourself in this bath that transcends the physical body. It's like a fluid energy that's going through the body because it's just completely dunked in this energy. It creates a very profound experience for us. So before we get to chanting, my wish for you is that you take this with you, use this tool of chanting to experience an awakened aliveness as the system flows more effortlessly and other dimensions become more easily accessible to your perceptions as you align this instrument more in more totality with that of creation itself, that of life, this ongoing process, this singular truth.